welcome back to For Book's Sake. I am Heather Roberts.
I am Veronica Adams, and we are 1852 Media.
Yes, and before we begin, we have a quick programming note
Yes.
and an apology.
Very important apology.
Yes, to Casey McQuiston from last week's episode. We were unaware that Casey goes by they, them pronouns, and we should have done the requisite research into that. We do apologize for using the wrong pronouns when referring to you, Casey. So we had a lovely listener bring that to our attention, and I wanted to say that at the top of this episode and just,
always learning, always growing, always trying to take accountability, what's the cis het blinders on sometimes, right? Like we don't even think about the sensitivity that we need to have in certain situations. And we use the wrong pronouns for Casey, and we apologize for that.
Yes, we absolutely do.
We're not doing the homework that was necessary there. So thank you to the listener who reached out as well. And
100%.
Very kind and graceful in letting us know the mistake that we had made. So we appreciate you too.
And we always say, please tell us if we're wrong. Please correct us. And we thank this listener for actually doing that.
Absolutely.
And this is my apology to not only Casey, but those listening for making that mistake.
Absolutely.
But, I'm also going to put a note in the program description as well, so for future listeners, they know that we made that mistake in that episode.
Yep.
I have been off this week, so I haven't been able to do that yet.
Yeah.
It has been quite a week.
Life has been happening, man.
Life has been happening.
Woo.
We just dropped my son off at college yesterday.
Yeah, exciting stuff.
Crazy. Yep. Absolutely crazy.
Meanwhile, when you and I finish recording today, I'm taking my son for his very first day of school. So you and I are in sunrise, sunset positions right now, right? Cue the fiddler.
Know. We've always led parallel lives in a very interesting way.
Yes.
In so many different ways. So this is not surprising that this is any different.
The parenting and children transitioning into new phases in life at the same time, absolutely another parallel lining up for us.
Yeah. On this end, it's exciting, as I'm sure it is for you. It's exciting. For sure. And I'm just, so excited. I'm frankly a little jealous of his experiences that he's about to have.
Oh my God. Your son, yes, absolutely. Yes. I'm, milk and cookies and snack time and all that stuff. Okay, fine. But what Jay is doing is just, if I could rewind to any point in my life and redo it, it would be college. Hands down. No questions.
No questions.
No questions.
Amazing time in my life.
Best 4 years of my life.
Yeah, easily. Yeah. And it's just, college is great. College is great. I literally just missed a call from him, so.
Oh no!
I didn't talk to him, and he has great timing, and he just called when we started this podcast, because of course he did. I think it's because he wants to schedule our dropping off of some things that he forgot.
Yes.
Let's be honest.
He hasn't completely cut the cord yet. Still needs mom and dad to come in clutch with those campus deliveries.
That's right. I mean, he's very close, so it's not that big of a deal. But today, we thought we'd talk about contracts.
Yep.
Contracts.
Absolutely.
If you are an author in this industry and you are making this your career, even if you're not, even if it's a hobby situation, and these situations are going to pop up for you, you're going to be presented with contracts, with different opportunities, different companies. You need to know what to look for.
I mean, even your terms and conditions with each retailer that you publish on, that's a contract that you're entering into.
Exactly. And with all of, the third-party people, so people that come and work with us, there's a contract involved.
Absolutely, yes.
There's terms and conditions. You need to understand what these things mean.
If you get covers designed specifically for you, you have a contract with your, at minimum, with your graphic designer / artist. And then maybe a contract with the person who took the stock photo or made the custom illustration or took the custom photo for you. you have contractual relationships in layers upon layers in this
Layers.
industry. There's just no way to avoid it.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's talk about a specific category.
Yeah, sure.
So there's a category of contracts. Maybe you're trying to get, this is very popular, trying to get your rights, your subsidiary rights
Mm-hmm.
sold off. So that
Yeah,
could be foreign translations. That could be audio, audio
absolutely.
creation,
Yep.
film and TV rights. These
Yes.
are all different rights that you have as part of that book, that
Right.
content that you created.
Yeah.
You just don't have a lot of people just focus on, oh, I just want to get the ebook out and the
Mm-hmm.
paperback out. But you don't think about the fact that that content, that intellectual property
Yeah.
has so many different things that you can do with it.
Your ability to sell that story
Yeah.
in multiple versions of media. I mean, it doesn't just end with you publishing the ebook, right? Or the ebook and the paperback, or however many formats you are going to have. Some people do hardcovers and large print and all sorts of stuff, right? But
Right.
the book itself, in whatever format it's available for sale and consumption, isn't the only way you can sell that story.
Right. And now there's a lot of things that are popping up, like games.
Yes.
There's,
The
games.
entertainment
Yeah.
sector has really, really grown for authors in terms of your ability to partition off a piece of your rights and let someone else help you monetize your story in a new way. Those games are awesome.
Yeah. So there's games, there's,
Uh-huh.
film and TV rights. And my point in saying this is you don't have to sell all of your rights to the same person
That's
or the
right.
same company. When I
That's
say
right.
person, I mean company. You can sell, your film and TV rights to one company,
Hmm.
with a licensing deal where it's
Yeah.
limited, right? You don't
Yeah.
have to sell all of your books either. We're talking about a single title for a specific period of time.
Yep.
Um, optioning is another thing. So let's talk about the difference between optioning and actual going into production. Okay. So when you're optioning a let's call it a movie, right? Because that's
Sure.
usually when that comes into play.
Sure.
You are essentially selling your story to a specific company that is for an exclusive period of time in which that company is then going to try to go get a producer to make the actual film.
Right. The film or the TV show or whatever. Yeah.
So simply because your title is optioned doesn't mean that your actual movie is going to get made off of your story.
Although you are one step closer to that happening for
Yes,
sure. Yeah.
100%.
But your
But
contract there is simply with the person or company who is trying to find a way to make it happen. It's not actually a guaranteed production that's coming.
right. But you are selling them an exclusive ability to do
Mhm.
that. And
Yes.
so you should be compensated for that exclusivity
Absolutely.
that you are granting them.
Right?
That is what you're selling. Because anybody could come and, say that they want to make your
Mhm.
story into a movie, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Great. Then come give me a contract for the actual movie, right?
Right.
But
Right.
if this company wants to have the exclusive right to be able to shop it around, they have to pay for that privilege.
Yes.
And some people don't think about that. They
Yeah.
just get very wrapped up in the situation of,
Yes.
oh my God, somebody wants to make my book into a movie.
I think
And
we have both seen this in
yeah,
action over the years at different times with different people. I've seen authors agree to option contracts for nothing, for absolutely
for
nothing,
absolutely nothing. Yeah,
because they're so invested in the idea that there's a possibility now that TV or film will be coming. And you're thinking about the TV and film money, not the I am now limiting myself to this one company shopping this for me. And
right.
I need, a lot of people just don't know what they don't know in
Bec-
terms of advocating for themselves and negotiating an agreement that fairly compensates them for what they're actually agreeing to.
Because here's the deal, if somebody else comes to you during that period of
Yeah.
time in which it's optioned, you have to now funnel them through the option company. You
Yes.
can't independently go and work with that other company.
That's right.
And so they're now getting a, cut of the proceeds and all of that for
Hmm.
something that they maybe
That
didn't really
yeah,
do.
your agreement with whomever has the option, that is not dissimilar to a relationship with a lawyer or a real estate agent or any other fiduciary person
Right.
who manages something for you. They are the only party who can work on turning the option into a production
Right.
during the timeline set by your contract with them. So anybody who says, "Hey, I'd love to turn your book into a made for TV film," or Netflix comes around, or
Yeah.
Hollywood calls, um, you have to send all of those people to the folks who have your option right.
Right.
All of them.
Which can be beneficial, and that's great because then they're handling, right, all of the things.
Sure,
But
of course.
because of the exclusivity nature of it, you should get some type
Hmm.
of benefit on the front end
Right,
of
right.
that.
Well, and
So,
they can agree or not agree to anything that they choose
right,
within the limitations of your contract with them. And just because in our little hypothetical, someone shows up and says, "Hey, I want to make your book into a movie," if you send them to the company who has your option, they may never come to terms, even if you would agree to what the production company
right.
wants. Right.
So,
So,
right. So you need to make sure that you're copacetic with them,
yeah,
that you're,
absolutely.
yeah. And
Absolutely.
similarly speaking, so do you need an agent for
Mm,
all this sort of stuff?
gosh, we get that question a lot.
Yeah. And the answer is technically no.
Yeah.
Okay. Technically, no,
You
you
can
don't need.
absolutely DIY.
Yeah, you can DIY this yourself. However, having an agent who is knowledgeable, not just any agent, but an
Yeah.
agent who is knowledgeable in contracts at the very least of
Yes.
the specific industry in which you are entering and has the ability to negotiate on your behalf,
Right.
that is crucial to things that are benefiting you.
Yep.
Because when you're entering into these things, the other company, the foreign rights, publisher, the
Hmm.
audiobook, publisher,
Yeah.
the film and TV people, they have their own attorneys.
Of
They
course
have
they do.
their own, yeah, they have their own companies set up with their contracts made and all of
Mhm.
that benefit them the
Always.
most, always.
It's the whole point of doing it.
So they're going to send you a contract and you need somebody to look that over. And that could be an agent, that can be an attorney that you hire. An
Sure.
agent doesn't have to be an attorney, okay? But an
Yep.
agent is knowledgeable within the industry of
Absolutely.
in which you are in. And
Hmm.
oftentimes they can help you review contracts to say, "Oh no,
Absolutely.
no,
Yes. Yes.
that's not a
Now,
good contract or clause or whatever."
your agent could be an attorney, but if your relationship with them isn't an actual attorney-client relationship, it's an agent representee relationship,
Yes.
their obligation to explain the contract to you can be a little bit watered down. So it may be worth it, even if you have an agent, to go get an attorney and pay that person for a couple of hours of their time to really dig through the contract as an attorney and explain
Right.
it to you with the same level of obligation and duty that an attorney would have.
Correct. Because an
That's
agent does
also a
not,
yep.
yeah,
Their responsibility to you is still to you, but it doesn't carry the same weight and depth that it would if it were,
an attorney
uh
client relationship. Yeah,
exactly. Exactly.
100%. And even if your agent happens to be an attorney, they
Yep.
don't have the same obligation to you to
Yes.
explain things in depth.
Right.
Although they likely will be able to explain things in a way that you can
Sure.
understand it.
Sure. Well, and
But
their
it's
their interest and responsibility is still owed to you, and most of the time they're not getting paid unless you're getting paid in some meaningful way. So
right.
you can trust them to look out for you, but also again, it would to me make a lot of sense to just pay for a lawyer, a separate third party lawyer in this situation to
Sure.
do the deep dive.
Yeah. Because there's so many different things that can come up
Hmm.
in these, and things are popping up every single day.
Yep.
And if somebody's not, looking at that sort of stuff daily, there
Yeah.
can be things that are missed and whatnot.
Absolutely.
So even if they're doing the best job that they possibly can do. But like for example, AI and the increase in
Oh my
AI
goodness,
that's
right?
been popping off. I'm certain that there's likely things that clauses that are being inputted into contracts now that weren't even a year ago.
Sure.
So these are all things to take into consideration as
Yeah.
you're looking through these agreements. But one thing I also want to bring up is be very careful about who you're selling your copyright to. You
Yes.
never want to sell that to anyone. That is
Yeah.
yours. You need to ensure that all you're doing is licensing,
That's
right?
right.
The use of your copyright for a
Yeah.
specific period of time.
Well, and that is a pretty standard contract term for most creative assets and intellectual property. Um, when you go get a family photographer to take photos of you and your kids or your, whatever, your family events, 9 times out of 10 you're buying a license to those photos, and the
Yes.
photographer is always going to hold the copyright because they're the one who took those pictures. Um, Same thing goes with you as the author for your book. No matter who you are agreeing to terms with for whatever the next step is, even if it's just an audiobook production, never, ever, 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 unless you are being compensated really, really well and don't mind giving up your right to the book forever,
Right. Because that's
sell
what you're
your
doing.
copyright. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah. Don't sell your copyright. There
for
has to
sure.
be some sort of amazing terms that I can't even fathom for a reason I don't
It would need
know.
to be the biggest bag of your career.
Yeah. And there has to be some sort of reason that you would want to do that, because if you can
Sure.
get the biggest bag of your career and with something that has that much tangible value,
Yeah.
why are you selling your copyright is my
Right.
point. Take a little bit less and there's a longer tail on it. There's just doesn't
Yeah.
yeah. There would have to be some sort of reason that I can't think of.
Yes.
Okay. So that's not something that you want to look out for, clauses like that, because that
Well,
is,
I mean, if you need immediate money, whatever, like
sure. I
that's your
mean,
prerogative.
of course, you can agree to anything. I mean, I was I was watching a TikTok, as it were, of course. But this
Naturally.
really, yeah, but this really sort of made me, when we were just talking about like you can agree to anything.
Mhm.
There was an attorney and they were asking, like I can't even remember the prompt exactly, but he was talking about how attorneys think
Yeah.
and how attorneys think differently from other people. And there was a case in which he was a divorce attorney, family law attorney, and there was a case in which there was a prenup situation in which
So it wasn't
the
Jen and Ben.
no, the husband, if they got a divorce, he would pay her X amount of dollars in alimony. These people
Okay.
are like rich, rich, rich,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. Oh,
Um,
yeah, the pay to play the pay to play clauses where it's like if he does this or you do that, then the other one
yeah.
gets X.
And so the other side was, well, you gain for every 10 pounds that you gain during the marriage at divorce, if we get divorced, you will then um, lose $10,000 for every 10 pounds that you gain at the point of divorce.
I am internally raging right now, but
Yes.
that's a whole nother issue.
And yes, this clause was held up in court
Of course it was,
in
because
the
the parties
prenup.
can agree to whatever they want to.
Exactly. And the attorney his point was, most people would say that's reprehensible. That's unbelievably awful.
Mhm.
And he's like, as an attorney, I'm thinking I can work with this. On the day of her weigh-in, I'm going to be putting pennies in her pocket. She's going to be on eating Twinkies and,
Mhm.
like eating as much as possible before the day of weigh-in. We are going to get that number artificially as high as possible.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, on the day of weigh-in,
Mhm.
she's going on a juice cleanse. She's
Yep.
doing, Epsom salt baths.
Absolutely.
He's like, I can work with this. And that's the difference between an attorney's brain sometimes
Yeah.
and regular civilized
Yes.
society. And it's very true. It's true.
And unfortunately, if you want to be best protected in these scenarios, you need one of those twisted brains looking at the documents for you and helping you
Yes.
understand what it is you're agreeing to.
Because my point is, in any situation, just within books and everything, you can agree to anything you want. But
Yep.
oftentimes it's best to have an attorney look at it, because they're like, okay, well, we can do this, and this is how, you're going to have to be putting
Yeah.
pennies in your pocket,
Yeah.
etc. in that scenario. Contracts are so important. I mean, there was just that situation with the agent. Did you hear about? You
probably
didn't.
not.
So there was a situation where an agent on Twitter, I guess, she was complaining. Which why do you put these things public? I don't understand. She was complaining that her client left her, went to another agent, and then sold her book got some big 6-figure deal, mm-hmm. right? Immediately thereafter.
Why didn't you get your client the big 6-figure deal? Why are you complaining about work you didn't do that someone else got done for them?
Yeah, I don't remember all of the situation. Yeah. Evidently she left her. She says that she was in negotiations or something. I can't remember. My point is, there is always a clause in an agent contract that if your agent is in negotiations on a specific book for a specific book, mm-hmm. and you can't just leave them and go and sign with somebody else and then cut out that prior agent.
Right.
That's not how that works. There is a clause that protects agents from people doing that.
Your agency agreement is absolutely going to protect your agent first. There's just no way around that.
And so you
are going to compensate them fairly for work that they were in the process of doing if you decide to leave or terminate.
Right. And so my question was, well, doesn't that agent have that clause in their contract? I don't understand why they're not throwing. Why is this a Twitter war when it should be a simple?
Why are we posting this on X? Why aren't we in civil court having a judge tell the author and the new agent that they owe the old agent some money?
I mean, I don't understand why you're not just sending a lovely little email to the publisher and saying, "Hi, here's my contract. I will love my 15% when it's ready. Thank you. Yeah.
Please deposit too."
Because they will honor that. And the author is going to have to sue to
stop you from collecting.
Because that's legally binding. And so my point is, did she not have that in there? Probably and if she didn't, that doesn't make a good agent. What the heck are you doing?
Yeah.
So in every scenario, there's clauses that you need to be paying attention to understand how things are working.
For sure.
And know what you're agreeing to.
Yes.
I mean, I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
You need to watch out for some stuff. I mean,
absolutely.
Watch out for selling your rights. Watch out for, selling your rights for longer than licensing your stuff for longer than is required or necessary.
That's a good milestone no matter what the contract is. Even if you're pursuing traditional publishing, understand what the traditional publisher gets from you and how long they get it.
Right.
Before you agree to the deal.
An average deal is 7 years. That's average. You can do.
I've seen a lot of authors end up with 10.
Yep. Some do a little longer.
Yeah.
So if you're having a longer deal, there should be something that is compensating you for that additional length.
Yeah. Well, and also there should be arguably some sort of provision that requires the publisher to actively market and try to continue to make your books commercially successful for the entire time they have the rights to them.
Right.
I've seen a lot of authors whose publishers just fold or, small press situations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where books are commercially successful at launch and then they just sit and the publisher does nothing with them the entire time they have the rights.
For 6.5 years.
Or more, yeah.
Yeah, or more. Yeah.
Yeah.
They just hang out.
Yep.
And it also varies based upon where you're at in your career, right?
Sure.
So if you do not sell well in audio, for example, or you haven't sold well in audio before, and you have a publisher who's an audiobook publisher and they're coming to you, you're likely not going to get a huge advance on your first one. So strategically, I wouldn't sell them your whole catalog yet, even if they want your whole catalog. They probably don't, but let's be honest. But let's say they want your whole catalog. Don't sell them your whole catalog up front.
Right.
Because they're looking at it. They might want your whole, now I'm reframing because they might want your whole catalog thinking they can get it for cheap. right?
Right.
Because you don't have an audio
Yeah.
audience.
It's a great deal for them if you don't know what you have and
Right.
you don't have the experience or the track record to support a large advance. They're
Yeah.
going to come in and try to scoop you up at a bargain basement price, and then they're going to make a ton of money.
On the
And you're
back
going to
end,
make your, I don't know, 30 or 40% royalty
which is
split.
fine.
Sure.
But think about it this way, sell them one or two.
Yeah.
Let's see how it goes.
Let
If
them
they
prove to you what
go,
they can do with it first.
yes, if they go gangbusters, then,
Sell them the rest of the
sell
catalog.
them. Right. But now they're going to be paying more for it.
That's right.
And you are also getting compensated at a higher rate, right? Like, so
Yes.
this is beneficial to you as the
Absolutely.
author. So
Absolutely.
there's a lot of strategy that goes into this. You have to think about things from different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
Know what you
Same thing with your
have.
foreign translations, right?
Yeah.
Like that's always an issue of first impression for authors just entering any other market for the first time, right? You can DIY
Mm-hmm.
it, and a lot of authors have been very successful doing that.
Yep.
But if you're going to go with a traditional agent and publisher, translator, publisher, the best thing to do is not to get scooped up for your entire catalog all at once, but to let somebody try one or two books in a series. And if it goes really well,
Yeah.
then you negotiate an even better deal for the rest of your catalog
Yeah.
or the parts of your catalog that they think are commercially viable in that international market. Because depending on
Yeah.
where you're being published, some stuff may work there and some stuff may not.
Well, that's the whole thing too, because some authors work really well in audio. I'm
Yeah.
just using audio as an
Right.
example.
Right.
Some work really, really well in audio. Their books sell amazingly well in audio.
Yes.
Others don't.
Yes.
They're just books don't translate as well to
Yeah.
audio.
Right.
And now also that can have to do with narrators, timing,
Yes.
pacing, the
Production is a huge
production,
piece of that, I
right?
think.
Yeah. That can all, come into play. But um, let's say everything else is equal. Sometimes some books just don't translate as well to audio. It's
Right.
just, that's the nature of
Right.
things. Some books don't translate or hit well in other countries with foreign rights.
Yes.
So why are you giving up all of your rights to something if it may or may not be the best timing for you right now?
Yeah.
Because this industry is all about timing,
Oh
right?
God, isn't it though?
It's you need to
And
have.
it's the one thing you can't control either. Like you can make all of the plans that you want to make for hitting hard dates and having launches and sales and everything, and even with the best of intentions and all of the organization that you can put into getting your calendar right, other people are also making plans and things that are out of your control are going to happen, and
Yeah.
everything that you could pick that is just absolutely ideal can end up being a disaster because there are cloud storage internet issues across the globe, or there are hackers, or there is some sort of natural disaster, or
Yep.
mercury is in Gatorade, or like there's just so much
Anything
that
could happen that you cannot
exactly
control.
exactly
So, yeah, luck, timing, and good content. You can only
absolutely
control literally one of those.
that's right.
So, that's why production is so crucial. You need to keep
Yes.
producing because
Yes.
anything could happen to your next
I,
book.
absolutely absolutely.
Anything. Got to
Yeah.
keep grinding. Got to keep grinding. So, I don't know if this was illuminating or if it was just confusing
Messy
to
word
people.
salad.
Yeah, it was just word salad. But there's just I guess our point is understand your contracts, look at the
Yes.
terms in which you're agreeing to,
Yeah.
and be careful out there because
Absolutely.
and also but know what go into things with eyes wide open.
Mhm.
If you want to sell off your entire audiobook series on the jump to a publisher for cheap, it's your prerogative. You're allowed to
Absolutely.
do that. Would I say that's a very smart business move? No, not necessarily. I personally wouldn't do it. I
Yeah.
wouldn't suggest doing it. But you have the prerogative to do what you want with your career,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you need to make the decisions that are best for you. If you have a bill coming up and you just need that money right now, okay, I get it. You
Mhm.
need to do what's best for you. Just go into it with eyes wide open, know what the options are out there.
Yeah.
That's all we can possibly ask.
Absolutely. And
So,
Get educated, take the extra steps to either learn for yourself or to pay a professional to help you educate yourself.
Yes.
And just know what you're agreeing to.
Exactly. So thank you all so much for coming to our legal TED Talk today.
That's right. The contracts of publishing.
The contracts of publishing. Until next time.